Well, good morning, everyone. This is Cassidy Carson from the CC and JT Amateur Hour, and today I'm wearing my Nevada Author Network hat. And as you can see, I am flying solo because my partner JT Hume is not feeling well today, so he was unable to join us, but he will be back sometime in the future for future episodes. But in the meantime, I want to say that the Nevada Author Network is a collaboration between Two More Books LLC and the Sierra Arts Foundation. We like to highlight the local authors who are members of the Sierra Arts literary community and talk about them and their works. And today we have the honor and privilege to speak to Salem T. Lynn, who is a local Reno person, a lifetime Reno person, I believe. And I would like to welcome you to the podcast, Salem. And why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi. Well, like you said, I'm born and raised out here. I was born in Reno and now I'm in Carson. And I've just been around the area my whole life. Also been a writer my whole life. I've been going to Barnes and Noble as long as I can remember. Um, I also always go the speed limit.
That's very important because so many people don't. So you have a book coming out on October 25th. Is this your first book?
This is my third book with my fourth following it in February.
Oh, that's
Um,
awesome.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. So I started out with a dark romantasy type, but this is a new series I'm doing that's more sci-fi, so it's space travel and aliens and things like that.
And where did you get the idea for this book? I believe it's called Endlings and Beginnings, which is an
Yes.
intriguing title.
Yeah, I wanted to do like a really fun naming convention for the series. So it's the Endlings and is every title is going to follow that trend. But the book itself, it follows a man named David who falls in love with his assassin when he finds out that she's extremely beautiful and very smart and cunning, and she agrees to spare his life so they can find out who wants him dead. And it kicks off this whole journey of trying to stop a dictator from, well, I like to say an entry-level dictator, from resurrecting an evil alien queen who wants to enslave the stars. And along
Oh,
the way, he is just head over heels for her, and he like burn the universe down for her kind of type.
so I have to say, I did start reading a little bit of your book, and the main female character, the assassin, reminds me a little bit of the main character in Stardust. I don't know if that's something that you intended or if that's just something that I'm taking from this.
Actually haven't read that or even
Oh,
seen the movie. So, but I love to hear that. So that's definitely going at the top of my list now for stuff that I have to check out.
it is a fun movie. I haven't read the book myself either, but the description of your assassin reminded me a little bit of the main character in Stardust. So I was curious about that.
No, I love that. No, I definitely have to check it out.
And I did notice that you mentioned that your main character's name is David. His last name is McKinley. Now, as a local Reno resident, would that have anything to do with maybe McKinley School? Or there are local McKinleys?
It absolutely does. So, something I love to do in all of my books is include a little bit of my home in it. It was a little interesting trying to figure out how to get Reno, the actual city, into the book if I'm going into space. Though I did have little tidbits here and there of like that might be where David is from. But McKinley definitely comes from the different things around town that are called McKinley.
Right.
And like in my first book, the characters actually go to Reno to the whales. And that was
Mhm.
how I included it in that. And so I wanted to do something for this. And so it was just my little homage.
That's very cool. And I'm sure anyone local who reads the book may pick up on that as well. We do
I
like
hope
to,
so.
I think we all like to throw a little bit of that into our books. So you said this is your third book, but it's also the first of what you have planned as a 15 book series?
Yes, I don't do anything halfway, apparently. So my debut was part of a trilogy, which wraps up in February, and this book is the start of a enormous series that I'm doing. It's a core of 5 books that are the main timeline, and everything else is extra characters who get their own stories told. My big thing with this series is every single character who is named in the book has enough of a backstory to get their own, at least, novella. And so I want to do that and I want to have that planned. So each of the main characters, it takes place over the course of about 60 years. So there's time in between the books that are just are unaccounted for that they're going to get their own stories told.
This is going to keep you busy for quite a while.
I'd say a couple of years at the rate that I write.
Oh, wow. You write pretty quickly then. So, how do you keep track of all these characters? I know for JT and myself, we use Excel spreadsheets. Do you have a specific way of doing that?
A lot of it is these are characters that I've been working with since I was a little kid. This is actually it came from the first thing that I ever wrote when I was like 8 years old. Kimber was the first original character that I ever came up with. So these are characters that have been with me for such a long time that they're kind of like friends that I've known for a while. So I keep track of them just by seeing them on the page, honestly, and how they all interconnect, because if you take even one character out of the book, it doesn't work.
Wow, that's amazing. I don't know how you would keep track of that many characters for that many books. It is fun that you have been writing since childhood. Our youngest daughter is a local author as well, and she started writing very young because she used to sit on my lap. And she writes urban fantasy also with Reno kind of set in there. So it's good to know that our community has those kind of writers. How do you feel about our local writing community? Do we feel like we have a good one here?
I think that we have an amazing community here. When I started doing my books, I did it by myself. I didn't really have a community. I hadn't connected with anybody yet. And over the course of getting my books out there and everything, I got invited to the Facebook group that we're all in. And I met people who are now, I consider them family. Now we've just gotten so close, and they're some of my biggest cheerleaders, my biggest champions. And there was a point after my first book came out where I felt like nothing was really going right. And I I owe the continuance of me writing to Kim Harns, because she really took me under her wing. She kicked my butt, and she kept me going. She really did. She gave me an opportunity to say like, oh, this is actually what I'm supposed to be doing. And immediately after she did that, everything just picked right back up and took off. And she gave me the opportunity to meet one of my childhood heroes, who also like told me, "Hey, this is what you're supposed to be doing. You cannot give up." And every time now I feel like giving up, I know all I have to do is reach out to somebody, her or Jackie or you guys or anybody, and say like, "Hey, I'm having a rough time with this." And I know that I'm going to be told, no, you're actually good and you're going to get through this. And they actually mean it. So we have the best community. I would not trade you guys for the world.
Well, that's awesome. I know we're fairly new to the Sierra Arts literary community, but like you said, the names you've mentioned are very familiar and they're all very supportive. And we're happy to have found this family of writers in the local area. And I think that's one of the reasons that JT and I started doing this is that we were hoping to give back to this community in whatever way we could. So I'm glad that you've found that support for yourself in this community. And as a younger writer who's been writing for a long time, do you feel you might sometime in the near future find yourself in a mentor position for another young writer?
I actually recently have found myself in that position. Somebody who I met, and we met basically because I was like, hey, you look like somebody who would enjoy my book. And I told her about it, sent the links and everything to her. And we started talking after that, and we became really good friends. And now she's writing her own book, and I've actually invited her to, in the last book in the series that I wrote that she really likes, I've invited her to write a bonus chapter for it, and I'm walking her through the publishing process and all of that, so she's going to have a publishing credit to her name pretty soon. And
That's awesome.
it, it's been one of the best things I've ever done. I didn't anticipate it to be this. It's enlightening for me, like I'm learning as I go. And now I get to share all of my knowledge with somebody who just has that passion and that spark. Like I usually tell people that any idiot can learn how to write. It's not hard. It's grammar and rules, and that is all set in stone. You can flub it a little bit, but overall it's pretty standard. But you can't teach somebody how to be passionate. You can't you can't give somebody a spark. They either have it or they don't. And she does, and I see it. So I'm just getting to watch her grow and everything. That's the best thing in the world.
That's awesome. I'm so happy to hear that because I know if you feel like I do, just the connections we make through this writing journey are so special to us because sometimes people who don't write don't understand us and they think we're a little weird. I know I've worked with a lot of people who've been fascinated by writing, but they say, well, I could never do that. And like you said, they could easily learn the skills necessary to write, but they just don't have that passion. So finding like-minded people always feels wonderful.
It does.
It's just, so I'm so glad, as an older writer in the community, it's good to see the younger writers coming up and continuing on with this wonderful journey. If you had any advice for other younger writers like yourself, what would you give them?
The advice that I give every young writer is just to not give up and to not be afraid of making mistakes, because your first million words, they're gonna suck, but they're also the most important words that you're ever gonna write. And it feels rough to hear that. It feels rough to hear, I have to fill up 6 books worth of awful writing. And yeah, you do, because that's how you grow. And you're never gonna be 100% perfect, and that's why you are perfect.
That's cool. That's great advice. So you mentioned the publishing journey. Are you also an independently published author, or are you going through a publisher?
I am independently published. My first book had 500 agent rejections, and that hurt a little bit. I learned a lot though, and I found out that I don't really write to a super wide market. So I decided to learn how to do it myself, and now I'm setting up my own publishing company.
That's awesome because that's in itself is a lot of work. JT and I just did that this year. We set up an LLC. I don't know if that's the route you're going, but there's a lot of paperwork involved.
There's so much paperwork. So right now I'm a little imprint doing my own books, but growing slowly and making sure that I do it right the first time.
Well, I think anything we do is right because at least we're giving it a try. And I think that's something that, some people are maybe afraid to try to jump in and self-publish because it can be an intimidating process.
It is. I had a lot working in my favor is that I come from a long line of artists. I also went to college and had graphic design and all of that. So I have that kind of background to do my own typography, my own book covers, my own marketing materials. So it's a lot of stuff I did not have to outsource, thankfully.
Oh, that's great because that gets expensive, but it's
Oh, yeah.
worthwhile to support other artists. And I noticed that you do have some character art in your book. Is that something that you did yourself?
Unfortunately, I did not do the character art for my new book. I've had 2 strokes in the past, and I have arthritis and fibromyalgia, so all of that works together to where I cannot draw anymore.
Hmm.
So one of my friends actually wanted to get into doing artwork and needed stuff for her portfolio. So we worked something out together, and she gave me a super great introductory rate for the character art, and she can use it in her portfolio, and I can use it in like my marketing and inside the book. And so it was really good for both of us.
Well, that's awesome. Is that something where you would like to share information about this person so that we can link to her as well?
Yeah, so she's not ready to take commissions quite yet, but she will be soon. Her name is Heather Summer, and she is
Mhm.
absolutely fantastic. She's a joy to work with. I love her.
That's amazing. We'll have to keep an eye out for her and find out when she's ready to start taking commissions.
Yeah, I will also be announcing that on my social media as well to help her out.
Great. Well, that's a good way to segue into where can we find you online? Where can we find your books?
So my books are available pretty much everywhere books are sold, as I do expanded distribution. So in physical books, you can order your own copy. I always link them on my link tree to where that's the copy where I get the most royalty if that's something my readers care about. I know a lot of readers will try to find the link that pays the author the most, which I really appreciate. But you can also just find it on Amazon and physical locations. Thistle and Nightshade, I think, has a couple of copies left of my first 2 books. And we're also doing a release party up there on the 25th for Endlings and Beginnings. And the Barnes& Noble in Reno also has copies of my books, and they will have copies of the new one as well.
That's amazing. And where can people find you on social media?
On social media, I'm most active on Instagram and BlueSky. And I'm author.salem, or if like the website doesn't like the dot, it's a dash. But author Salem on everything.
That's great. Well, it's been wonderful talking to you today, and I'm really looking forward to reading more of Endlings and Beginnings. So I wish you luck on this publishing journey. It sounds like you're going to be busy for quite some time.
Oh, yeah.
Well, thank you for joining us today, Salem. This is the Nevada Author Network, a collaboration between Two More Books LLC and the Sierra Arts Foundation, where we highlight members of the Sierra Arts literary community and the wonderful authors that we have here in Northern Nevada, like Salem. So if you'd like to see more about our fellow authors, please go to twomorebooks.com. That's TWOMOORE books.com. and you will find links to all of the artists that we've interviewed so far, and we hope to highlight more wonderful authors in the future. So thank you again, Salem, for being here today, and hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you, everybody.